If I can change my life, anybody can. And I hope by sharing just a real small piece of my testimony that it might bring encouragement and hope to somebody. I was a man that was in prison. I was a heroin addict. I run drugs for a very powerful family in Florida, to Jamaica, back to off of the shores of Florida. Marijuana by the tens of thousands of pounds. Met ships offshore. I beat my wife 2 times. I almost killed her. I beat my youngest daughter for just asking me to go to church till she carried marks on her back for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And I used to travel around the United States sharing my testimony. Oh, it's been back in the 80s, early 90s, but I quit because it got to be a hard thing to do. Because my testimony is surely not what I'm proud of, but I do it for the glory of God, because it is God that finally turned and changed my life around. And just to give you a small example of how bad, I was, one night coming off of a heroin high, I slapped my wife, and we was driving down the highway, and I reached over and slapped her. We were arguing. Of course, I was coming off a heroin high. It makes you do crazy, weird things. And I opened the door and pushed her out, and she bounced on the side of the street and into a ditch, and I think it was about the second car back picked her up. Well, I stayed gone a couple of months, and thought for sure the authorities would be after me, but she never told nobody. She just kept praying for me, and that's all my wife ever really done, was just show me what love. She's Korean. I met her in Korea, where the last year over there I was sent into prison, an Army ASCOM prison, and shipped out to the United States in handcuffs and shackles. But she never drank, smoked, or done anything in her life. And I could go into the story of why she married me and what she said she saw in me, but it'd be too long. And but anything, one thing led to another, and I did trust the Lord as my Savior. And what I got out of the Bible, I guess, was a little different than others. What I got out of it was to be a Christian is not just to go to church or to help people. And I could share story after story with you out of the Bible that talks about how, as Christians, we're to help people. And I didn't see much of that. And my wife and I turned our home in Fort Pierce, Florida. I think it was 1,700 square feet, had say 1,700 square feet, and turned it into a mission. And I'd travel around the state of Florida sharing my testimony in churches and trying to raise money to build a mission. I ended up in Tallahassee, built 2 missions. The first mission I built was a very large one, and I'd go back and forth to Jacksonville in an old pickup truck to a food bank there, bringing food once a month. And one day the man over there asked me, why don't I just open a food bank in Tallahassee? So he came over, looked at the space I had, and he said, well, Dan, you got plenty of space. You got almost 4,000 square feet. So we opened a food bank, and I ran it maybe 3.5 years, and I couldn't run it and the mission at that time. It was just too tough. So I turned it over to a church that ended up turning it over to an organization, and today it's called the Second Harvest, which is probably the largest food bank in the state of Florida. It feeds hundreds of thousands of people every year, fed people all the way over to the oil spill in Louisiana this year. And so I was there 18 years, and some things happened, and we moved to a smaller place, a half-acre land, a home, and 3 months and $30-some thousand later, we had turned this home into a mission. And the men that come here, they don't stay for a week or a month. We try to keep them from a year to 4 years. We have a deal with Tallahassee Community College where they're able to go back to school. And many of these men do go back to school, finish college. And I can only give just a couple of examples. One, he graduated as an EMS worker, like on ambulances. And one man we took out of jail, and he got a job at a animal clinic, animal hospital here in Tallahassee on North Monroe Street. And he has been there for years now. The doctor really took a liking to him, and so he even assists in operations. We have a statue in our town of C.K. Steele. He was a right-hand man to Martin Luther King. We took, I believe it was his great-grandson in, and him and his wife was about to go through a divorce because of drugs, and we kept him a year and worked with him, and turned out to be a fine young man. And he and his wife got back together, had children, and they attend church today, and this is like 17, 18 years later. They attend church, and he even on a Thursday night teaches an Alcohol Anonymous class and drug class, at his church in a Sunday school room. But we've had great success with these men. I tell you, when you take a man off the street, you let him know that you love him and you care about him, and let him know that he is somebody. He ain't just a transit, or you don't look at them as alcoholics and drug addicts, but you got to let them know you love them. And you surely cannot be in this ministry for the money. The money's not there. 2.5 years ago, I had to file a bankruptcy just to keep my house, because we didn't have enough funds coming in, and I'd pay bills at the Hope House, and that's the mission I'm at now, Hope House Mission at 2302 West Tennessee Street, Tallahassee, Florida. And so I'd pay bills with my credit card, which I know was a very bad thing to do, but I've done it, and now I'm suffering for it in this bankruptcy. But the name of the game's always just been keeping the ministry going. The men that we take in really appreciate the help we give, and of course I think they really appreciate my wife's cooking. She has cooked for 33 years for homeless people. Matter of fact, the city even named a day after her for cooking for homeless people. I wish they'd give us a check, but they get named a day after her. We appreciate that. And it's kind of weird that in 33 years, we've never been able to get any support from the city or the state, and we were the first mission ever open, and since then there's other missions open, and I am the founder of the food bank here, but I don't know, it just seems like somehow we should be able to get some help from them, but we don't. And the hospital calls, and they'll have transits, that they've taken in and need a place for them. We'll take them. Sometimes the courts call, even sentence people to them. And if they sentence them to the jail, there's money goes there, but when we get them, there's no money. But that don't mean we're not going to stop taking them. We're going to continue to take them, and we enjoy what we do. And you have to love what you do. You cannot do this for money. 33 years, we have no retirement. We take probably 4 to 5 days off a year, and that is the honest truth. My wife did get to go to Korea, I think 3.5, 4 years ago. Her mother had a stroke, was dying, and there was some churches and people took collections, and so she was able to go back over and see her mother right before she died, and so that was good. And of course, all ministries like us have wish lists, and my wife cooks on a 4-burner stove for thousands of people every year, and she wishes she had a bigger stove. And of course, we wish we had a retirement. I wish I could take her on a vacation. For some reason, she's just always wanted to see the Grand Canyon, and she's always had a dream of a couple acres of land and a home. But we're happy. I'm not complaining. We're happy where we are, and our greatest wish list is to keep this ministry going. It is getting tougher and tougher, and I'm not even sure we're going to make it another 6 months, only by the grace of God. And every Christmas, another thing we do is we set a tent up, and this was our 6th year in the front yard. And it's a 40 by 60 tent, and we, by vans, we bring people in, and my wife, I know this is going to be hard to believe, but she literally cooks for all those people. This year we brought 411 people in, counting children. We brought 30-some children in. Churches donate toys and things for us to give to them. A lot of these kids are homeless. A lot of them come out of government subsidized housing, and they don't have much, and to see the smile on their face is just unbelievable. Channel 7 in this town, which is cable 27, come out and filmed it, and channel 6, which is cable 9, they come out and filmed it, and we get some support from that, but it goes pretty quick, and by February, March, we're pretty much at the broke stage. And this year, like I said, I'm not sure what we'll do. We're just praying and trusting God that we will be able to continue. Matter of fact, last year in 2009, you can go back and check the records, in Tallahassee, Florida, we had weather down to 17, 15 degrees. and there was people sleeping on the street. And so I took a tent, the same tent, set it up in the front yard from a fun station company, and they put sides on it, and we got us a generator and heaters and had the fire marshals check it out. And so we took the people sleeping outside and put them under that tent, kept coffee and donuts going all night. My wife had feed them breakfast and lunch and supper. And I tell you, it's just a great thing to see the smile on these people's face, and when you treat them like they're a human and treat them like they are somebody, they appreciate that. And I hope, again, by something I have said here this morning, that maybe somebody out there will hear this, and it'll help you know that if I can change my life in doing what I've done, and gosh, I've left out so much, anybody can change. And I guess because I had such a drastic change, that's what gave me the desire to open a mission that really cares about people, that will go the extra mile. And we've done this 33 years now. And I guess I'd like to ask you to pray for us. Pray that God would help us and keep us going. And for another year and another year and another year. We have no retirement, so I just work till the Lord takes me home, and I'm happy at doing that. And if we lost this mission, we'd probably be homeless ourselves within 3 or 4 months, you know, with no retirement or anything. But I just trust God, and that's what you have to do, that He'll watch over you and take care of you. And of course, God trusts, you know, God helps you through people, and so you know, maybe somebody out there will hear this, and I don't know, maybe you can come up, and I've done this 33 years, but I'm always new to ideas. You might be able to give me some fundraising ideas, or some way to raise funds to keep this ministry going. But one thing I hope is that I have not offended anybody in anything I've said. I didn't want to do this. I've done this to try to, you know, maybe encourage somebody that may be going through some difficult times, that things can change and get better for you, and the Lord can make that happen. I thank you for listening to this video. I pray that God will bless you throughout this year, and that those without jobs will get jobs, and you'll just do good in this new year that we're in now, 2011. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and may the best come to you. Thank you again.